In this video, I'm going to talk you through the fastest way to get the Glory of a Delver achievement and the mount as well, all solo. Quite a few of these achievements have different time gating and different requirements, so I would recommend watching the entire video to make sure you don't miss anything so that you've got a bit of a plan going into this. Also, at the end of the video, I will include a full guide on the Season 1 boss, which is Zekvir, and how best to complete that solo. How long is it going to take? Total should be no more than 4 days, as one of the delves, the Underkeep, involves 4 different storylines which reset daily. If you miss any of these storylines or you don't manage to complete them, of course, it's going to increase the amount of time until you can get the achievement done. Before you jump in as well, the leveling up of Brann, the different Loremaster stuff, and the treasures are all time gated in some way. So I would make sure that you watch all of those definitely to make sure you don't miss one of these and have to wait multiple days to get them complete. The other thing I wanted to point out as well is that if you complete all the storylines in a tier 1 delve, of course it's going to be a lot faster than doing it in tier 8, which is maybe what you're up to running by now. But make sure that you don't do this in bountiful delves. Make sure you still use your bountiful delves for tier 8, as that's how you're going to get XP for Brann at that point when he's past level 15. Nice. So to get this achievement, of course, there is a variety of different achievements that we need to obtain, all adding up to the final achievement where we get them out. So I'm going to go through these one by one in an order which I think makes the most sense, and try and give you guys the information that is most important first, so that you can go through this step by step and eventually get the achievement finished. Guys, kicking things off, we have the first achievement, which is just to get up to tier 8 delves complete. For this one, we will need to have tier 8 available to complete a bunch of the other achievements anyway. So basically just work your way up to tier 8. Most people are probably there by now. Just, you can use the same delve over and over again. It doesn't need to be a different delve each time, but you have to just work through the tiers until you get up to that tier 8. Of course, it's going to become easier and easier as we get more gear as well. But if anyone is struggling to get to tier 8 for whatever reason, please comment below. I've seen a lot of people complaining on Reddit about the difficulty of delves, and obviously it's changing all the time. So I've considered doing specific delve video guides, but I'm not sure if it's really necessary. Nice, and then the next one I want to talk about, which is related, is the Brann Development achievement. For this one, we need to get our Brann to level 25. So the way that we're going to do this is just through doing our normal delves, picking up all the XP, but he mainly gets a lot of XP at the end when you complete the delve. But after he hits level 15, he can no longer get XP from the regular delves, only from bountiful delves at this point. So what we want to do here is basically just run our bountiful delves on tier 8, which is going to give him the most XP possible, and gradually level him up. Now, you can do bountiful delves. There's 4 per day. You can do this on multiple characters if you want, or you can just do them on your main. And each day, make sure you do the 4, even if you don't have a key available to open them at the end, or open the bountiful coffer at the end. You can just continue doing them, and it's going to level Brann up. And this is going to make it as fast as possible. If you want to make it even faster, of course, you can jump onto your ults and do the bountiful delves on them as well, which, you know, you can get them up to 25 in 1 day, depending how many ults you have. Nice. And then jumping into the Loremaster achievement. For this one, each delve has 3 different storylines which rotate daily. The Underkeep, though, does have 4 storylines. The rotation is slightly confusing. From what I've been tracking, it seems as if it goes 1, 2, 3. If you see on the achievement, in terms of the first storyline, the second storyline, and the third storyline on the achievement, it seems to be all delves will have storyline 1 day. The next day, all delves will have storyline 2. The next day, the delves will all have storyline 3. And then it seems to go backwards again. It seems to go back to storyline 2, and then back to storyline 1, and then back to storyline 2. That's what's been happening for the last few days that I've been checking this. I can't confirm 100% if this is actually how it works, or whether it's just random, but all the delves share the same position of storyline on that achievement. Basically, for this one, just continually come back day to day and make sure you do every delve on every single delve to complete all of these storylines within 4 days, as the Underkeep has 4 different storylines. When you enter the delve, you'll be able to see the storyline on the top right before you go into the delve. It'll tell you which storyline you're going to be playing through, so you can check if it's one that you need to do. You can do these on tier 1 as long as it's not a bountiful delve, just to speed up the process. But just make sure you come and do each one of these each day on tier 1 if you need to, just to make it really fast to complete those storylines. And after 4 days, you should have all of them complete. Okay, and then moving on to the next achievement, which you will hopefully be doing during the process of completing the storylines. And the reason that you're going to be doing this, I'll get into in a minute. Basically, we have this Leave No Treasure Unfound achievement, which is to gain all the treasures from every single different delve to find those and access them. Each one of these treasures is a one-time treasure per account, so you can't come back and re-loot it on a different character, and they will always be in the same place in each delve as well. Some of these chests, though, are only accessible during certain storylines. That's how this can be time-gated. Essentially, as you complete the Loremaster achievement we've just spoken about, you want to make sure you get as many chests as you can during each storyline. Coordinates for these as well are in the description. You can paste those into TomTom, and they will put them onto your map when you're inside that delve as well. I'm going to start with the time-gated ones, though, to make sure that you guys know about these ones so that you don't miss them during the correct storyline. And I'm only going to show footage as well of the ones that aren't easy to find. The rest of them should be pretty straightforward, and I'll show them on the map. So for that first one, we have the Spiral Weave. 3 of these are quite high up on kind of the beams going across the delve, and most of them we can access in 2 of the storylines, but one of them we can only access in 1 of the storylines, which is called From Weaver with Love. In this one, you will get a grappling hook, which allows you to get the 4th chest, which is kind of just after the respawn point, and you can grappling hook up there and grab that one as well. This is the last thing I needed to do for this achievement because I missed the storyline and I just had no way at all to get the chest, so I had to wait an extra day to eventually pick it up. So this is a really important one. When you have that From Weaver with Love, make sure you go and get this treasure as well. 2 of the others are after the boss's room. On these beams, you can just jump down after you've killed the boss, and you can pick those up as well. And here they are all on the map now too. Nice. And then also the Underkeep's chests are all available during the Runaway Evolution storyline, which means all the doors are open within the Underkeep, so you can go and pick up all the different chests. So make sure when it's this storyline, you go and get them all. You can see them on the map here as well. The Fungal Folly for this one, I wanted to point out a few that you need to jump on these mushrooms that are going to fly you right up onto the top of some of these cliffs, and you can grab the chests from up there as well in case you miss these ones. And then the Nightfall Sanctum as well has a couple that are a bit more difficult to get to. One of them is on top of this flower, which you access from the very start of the delve. You jump down from the start. And then another one you access by jumping from the boat that the final boss is on, and you kind of jump from the end over onto this little platform and head over for that chest as well. The rest, as far as I remember, are all pretty straightforward. Just see them on the maps here as I cycle through each delve, and you can have this on your other monitor as well as those coordinates to find all of these treasures as you go through that Loremaster process. It's easy to think, oh, I'll just do this one later on, but as I say, it is time gated, so you really need to make sure that you are getting it during the correct storylines. Okay, nice. And then on to our first one, which we need to do within that tier 8. You can also do this during your Loremaster as well to make it even faster. Basically, this one's Sporesweeper. We don't want to get hit by any of these spores that you'll find all over the Fungal Folly in the Isle of Dorn and the Mycomancer Cavern in Hallowfall. As I said, it needs to be tier 8 that you're doing this in, and pets can get hit by these spores when they explode. Basically, if you run on top of them or they take any damage, they're going to start chasing you, and eventually when they have 0 health, they're going to start to explode, and we need to make sure we're not in that circle when they go off. Now, one thing to bear in mind is that if 2 of them are on top of each other and they're not timed at the same time when they die, one can explode the other one on top of you and then it explodes. So just watch out for that. Basically, with any of these tier 8 delves, take it slowly. Make sure you kill all of these individually or separately if you can and when you can, and just take it easy. Just fully focus on not stepping inside of these spores when they explode, and it should be fairly straightforward. If you are a pet class like me as a warlock, it's pretty straightforward. Just send the pet in and they don't really ever come near you. And if you've done that, no worries, that one is ticked off the list, and we can move on to the next one, which is I take candle. For this one, we can achieve this again in tier 8 in Kriegval's Rest in the Isle of Dorn and the Waterworks in the Ringing Deeps. For me personally, I use one of the storylines in Kriegval's Rest, and this one is really straightforward. As soon as you realize that you can just drop the candle anytime and clear the room whilst running around within the candle's light, and then you can complete the objectives that you need to do in the darkness, or when you've got that kind of poison thing on you in the Waterworks. It might be unnecessary, but when you walk into a new candle with your current one, it does get consumed and essentially wastes a lot of that fuel if the new candle is full. So what I was doing, and I don't think it's really necessary, but just to be aware, was basically dropping one candle before I got to the new one, just in case I needed extra fuel at any point. But most of these delves, there's so many candles, sorry, that it's really not a problem. But it also gives you more space to fight in if you need to move around or dodge any of the abilities. So it's something to bear in mind as well. You just move 2 of the candles one at a time through the delve with you, basically. If you do this all the way through, then no problem. As long as none of those candles get depleted, then you have this achievement as well. On to the next one, Just Keep Swimming, one that I got by accident actually, but basically we need to, in a tier 8 underwater delve, which would include the Sinkhole in Hallowfall and the Tech Rathan Abyss in Azkahet, we need to get all the way through without our breath bar going to 0. Now, as of the 13th of this month of September, people have been complaining that it's bugged and they're not getting credit for this one. But one person did comment saying that they drank a water breathing potion whilst inside the delve and before going into the water. And they even died a few times and popped a new one. And they said that it worked and they got the achievement. Bear this in mind, see how you go. But I got this achievement from basically just putting water breathing on my warlock as one of our abilities, just using that. And I did the delve without even knowing this was achievement at the time, and I managed to complete it. Of course, there's a few ways to make this really easy. Being undead, you're just going to get the achievement no matter what. Of course, a warlock with water breathing potions, or anything else which allows you to breathe underwater, you can just pop those and use them throughout the delve. Even if you don't do that and you just go in the bubbles, Brann will remind you if you're getting low on breath, and also it'll come up on the screen will start flashing. It's pretty straightforward. As far as these ones go, I would say this is one of the easiest ones to get. Okay, and moving on to the next one, which maybe can be a little bit more challenging, as it unfortunately at the moment relies on Brann a little bit as well. Basically, for this one, we need to complete a tier 8 Nerubian delve without touching any of the webs or the eggs. Delves that seem to work for this include the Earthcrawl mines in the Isle of Dorn, the Dread Pit in the Ringing Deeps, and I haven't seen any others confirmed, even though there is quite a few other delves which have eggs and webs. So there might be others that this works in as well. If you have done it in another one that I haven't mentioned here, please comment that below as well for everyone else. The easiest storyline and delve for this, in my opinion, seems to be the Fiery Grounds storyline in Earthcrawl Mines. Basically, for this one, you get a flamethrower, which allows you to clear all of the webs. As of today, the 18th, people are saying that if Brann touches any of the webs or eggs as well, this will also fail your achievement. So if you have that flamethrower in that storyline, you can just continually get rid of the webs so that Brann hopefully doesn't touch any of them either. And this seemed to work for me, no problem. I did fail this one time, and I believe that is because one of the webs clipped under kind of a slope that I couldn't see the texture on, and I went on top of it, and it wasn't really getting the flamethrower properly when it was in that position. So just be careful of that, especially on the sloped terrain in the delve. But once you've done that, you've gone all the way through, haven't touched any webs, haven't spawned any spiders, then you should have this achievement as well. Okay, and then on to our next one, which is Daystormer. This one to complete a tier 8 delve, one of the Order of the Night delves, which I believe is only the Nightfall Sanctum in Hallowfall. Maybe there's another one that I'm missing, so let me know in the comments. Basically, don't step in any of the purple circles within this delve. When you do that, it will come up with an artillery strike on you and you have to move away from all of the swirlies. But if you have done that, you have already failed the achievement and you'll need to restart. There is a storyline in the Nightfall Sanctum called Signal Noise, which allows you to basically direct the circles away from you, which is definitely the easiest one to complete this in. And that's the one I used to do this. So keep an eye out for Signal Noise and maybe give this one a go on tier 8 to complete that achievement. If you move all the way through, you will be able to get this achievement. Bear in mind that after you kill the boss, it might not pop up. You need to jump down towards the treasure room and then you will be able to get the achievement. Okay, moving on to the biggest portion of this video, we have the Nemesis achievement, which is to kill the final boss, Zekvir, on the 1 question mark difficulty. Now, he is located here in the City of Threads in Zekvir's lair, which is a special delve, which you unlock the first level of this delve by completing any tier 8 delve, I believe. So buckle up, this is gonna take a little bit of time to explain everything for Zekvir, but I'm gonna go through all of it now. So for context, I completed this as a 595 very non-optimally geared demo lot. I am an absolute dad gamer these days, so it took me a lot of time, and my Brann was in healer spec with a rank 1 out of 4 Porcelain Arrowhead Idol and a 1 out of 4 Amorphous Relic. And he was also level 21 when I did this, which was maybe a bit of a mistake. I could have easily gone and leveled him up. I don't know how much difference it would have made, to be honest. And yeah, it did take me a lot of attempts to get this done, but we did it. So I'll go through some tips and things that I learned from dying to this boss many times. Also, I'm aware this setup may need to look quite different depending on your class and spec, and of course it's only going to get easier as time goes on and everyone starts to get more and more gear. There is parts of this fight which will be significantly easier if we just have more damage to get through it, and it will make the fight really, really easy, to be honest. On my kill, I also did eventually purchase a flask, which maybe pushed my DPS a little bit over the edge to help with the spiders. So let's go through the abilities first of all. So on paper, it is a pretty straightforward fight, but it's all the overlapping abilities that makes it difficult. He has 5 abilities. The first one we have is called Angler's Web, and it is a narrow frontal cone aimed at his current target that grips you in and deals damage. Now, it can be dodged. Second, we have Claw Smash, the one I died to many times. It is a wide frontal cone aimed at you or Brann that deals massive damage. It can also be dodged as well. Third, we have the Horrendous Roar, which is a purple circle around him that fears and deals damage if you're inside at the end of the cast. Fourth, we have the Enfeebling Spittle, an interruptible cast which puts a 20-second dot and a big slow on you. This can be removed by either a snare removal or a magic dispel. This is really important for this fight. Fifth, we have the Call Web Terror, which basically he summons a cocoon in a random direction from him, which after 15 seconds will hatch into a spider, which has the same percentage of HP as the cocoon, but more health overall. This spider will repeatedly cast a 5-second stun on you, which is also interruptible. So, the too long didn't watch. To put it simply, we need to dodge the Claw Smash, Angler's Web, and the Roar, whilst either interrupting or removing the Enfeebling Spittle with a big focus on the cocoon when it spawns, and keeping the spider interrupted or CC'd until it is dead so that it doesn't stun us. Ideally, you can kill the cocoon every time to prevent the spider from spawning at all. I only managed this a few times on my kill when my cooldowns lined up with it. Make sure to grab Brann's potions as much as possible if you do have him in that heal spec to heal you throughout. These will also instantly heal your pet on a pet class as well, which was huge for me on a warlock. They are really good, so make sure you're picking those up, and it is not a DPS check. You just need to make sure you do the mechanics and you get a little lucky, to be honest, as well. Speaking of luck, there's definitely some RNG factors to this fight, so prepare to get a little bit frustrated at the beginning. The cocoon seems to shoot out from the boss's position. This means that if he is positioned against the wall, then 50%, if you're lucky, should kind of shoot out from him into the wall and then drop down below him. So that should be one way of trying to manage, or at least increase the chance of where those cocoons are going to go, because this is probably one of the biggest things that is difficult, is the cocoons going from one side of the room to the other, and then the boss running across the room and then casting his new abilities, and you need to stay on top of him, and it's quite challenging. So if you get those cocoons spawning in a similar location each time, it's a big RNG thing, but if you manage that, it makes the pools much better. Also, on the RNG topic, Brann sometimes will get downed by 50% of the fight, and basically if he gets downed, it's pretty much a wipe. I managed to revive him once, but I mean, yeah, you don't want to have him dying, but you can't control it in any way as far as I know, so some of the pulls are just doomed because Brann is a bot. But yeah, even on my kill, he was still full health by the end of the fight, but I had sometimes when he was dead by 50%, so just get prepared for that as well. Also, he dispels, which we'll talk about later, one of the abilities, Enfeebling Spittle. He does dispel it, but sometimes he doesn't dispel it, like even when he doesn't have his ability on cooldown, or maybe he gets feared or whatever. So that's also an RNG factor as well. Or he'll dispel it when you have 1 second left on the debuff, which obviously is a complete waste. Nice. So that's kind of the RNG factors of the fight that you need to be just mentally prepared for. Now I'm going to talk through a little bit more about how I would try and tackle this. So starting off, Enfeebling Spittle, this cast that we talked about, it's the biggest thing to deal with, I believe. The slow means that the other 3 dodgeable abilities become a lot less dodgeable, which I found out many times. Brann will also dispel you from this occasionally, which I also mentioned before. You basically need to find a way to remove this on your class. Any snare removals or magic dispels will work for this. For example, on Warlock, my Demonic Circle removes snares, so I could set up my Demonic Circle and use that for every other one of the Enfeebling Spittles that the boss put on me, or not quite every other. Sometimes I would be able to use it more, or I would have to use it part way through some of the Enfeebling Spittle because my cooldown wouldn't be up at the beginning of the cast, but I would try to use it before that claw smash came in, because that's when I really need to not be so slow, basically. Some of these I would also just pop defensives and try and get close to the boss so that I could move out of the claw smash if it came, even when I was greatly slowed, if I really didn't have any other option. But if you have something easier to deal with this, something that's off cooldown a lot more often that removes snares, or the magic dispel that is off cooldown a lot more often than my Demonic Circle, you should find this a lot easier. Also, of course, you have the option of interrupting it as well. The reason I couldn't do this is my interrupt was not off cooldown enough to interrupt this every time, and the spider if it spawned out of the cocoon. Basically, I didn't have enough damage to kill the cocoons consistently, so I just wanted to hold my interrupt for the spider every single time. So I just had to deal with the Enfeebling Spittle with my circle, and also with Brann dispelling me, and then I had to just hope that the other times would time okay with me getting out of the claw smash. So onto the cocoons that I've just spoken about. Basically, you want to just save cooldowns for these and nuke them as much as you possibly can. If the spider does spawn, you have to interrupt the cast for that 5-second stun, or 9 times out of 10 you're going to wipe. The spiders can be hard CC'd as well, with sheep, etc., things like that. I could fear it, for example, so bear that in mind if you want to just try and CC them instead of even killing them. But in my opinion, this might end up just being more complicated, as they might get stacked and you need to kill the other one, or you end up AoEing it or something. So I think it's probably easier going in to just expect to be able to kill them each time. Angler's Web, as arranged, I really didn't have to worry about this. He does target his target, so I think most of the time it was going towards my pet and occasionally maybe towards Brann, or there might have been moments where I ran into it where I did get caught, but just as melee, maybe just tried to be really aware of it. It's quite an obvious animation, which you can see on the screen here, of what's going on, and just make sure you're avoiding that. The claw smash, the closer you are to the boss, the easier this is going to be to dodge, because of course the cone is going to be a lot smaller. If you have the Enfeebling Spittle on you with that slow, you are going to die to this many times, basically. Even if you pop cooldowns, depending on your gear, you might just get one shot. I got one shot a lot by this from 100% health. And then the Horrendous Roar to finish with. This fear, as ranged, of course, it wasn't much of an issue other than when I was trying to get close to the boss for that enfeebling spittle on me and trying to dodge the claw smash at the same time. But just run out basically and make sure you don't have that spittle on you when you're trying to get away from this fear. But if you do get hit by the fear, depending on the overlaps, it's not as much of a wipe guaranteed as getting hit by the claw smash seems to be. So one last time, a bit of a review, make this really easy. Enfeebling spittle, interrupt or remove via Brann, snare removal or magic dispels. If you have this on you and claw smash comes through, it will most likely be a wipe. Kill the cocoons as fast as possible and don't let the spider's cast go through ever. If you keep the boss near a wall, this may help with the cocoon spawns. They can be hard CC'd as well. The spiders, that is. Angler's Web, don't get hit by it. Claw Smash, don't get hit by it. Anytime you are far from the boss, this will be significantly harder to dodge. Horrendous Roar, get out of the purple circle. Finally, do damage and kill the boss. Easy, no problem. Now, I know, guys, that this is going to be really different from class to class. There has been a huge amount of complaints around delves on Reddit, people complaining about their different classes. So if you're really struggling with your class, especially on this fight, I would love you to post in the comments about your experience. And then hopefully myself or someone who's a lot better than me at your class can maybe try and offer some help as well. And I'd be interested to know if it is actually just impossible on some of the classes as well. Playing a demo lock, maybe I have like one of the easiest classes to do this, I'm not sure. I'd imagine something with more interrupts and easier removal of the enfeebling spittle might be easier overall. But yeah, comment down below, guys. I want to hear about it. I want to try and help if I can. I hope all of that made sense and was easy to understand, especially the stuff on Zekvir. It's probably my first time trying to do any of that kind of content, trying to explain a fight. I don't know if there was too much information. If you're trying to watch that whilst you're in there and it's just too much, please let me know in the comments how that was for you, and if you needed it shorter, quicker, I don't know. So let me know what would work better. So I hope everyone has their Glory of the Delver or Glory of the Delver achievement after this video, and you've got it in the fastest way and you haven't wasted any time. Of course, this one took quite a bit more time of playing the actual game, which was a lot of fun, but did take a bit longer than I'd hoped, based on the different time gating of stuff, and I didn't know about that, so I missed a lot of these storylines when I should have and things. So sorry it's taken a bit longer to get this one put together. As always, guys, thank you so much for sticking with me. You're all a bunch of legends. Peace.